So I've got Paul with me here today, and the reason that we're, I think, 3 seconds late is because Paul has been distracting me. So I'm sorry that this won't be the professional setup that you've been used to for the last few days. Also, yes, only my name is on the screen. But there we go. But thank you for tuning in to our broadcasts that, thanks to Northamptonshire Community Foundation and Northampton Borough Council, we're doing mostly aiming at trying to encourage people to put in films for our schools competition, which is blooming massive, because Northampton Town Centre Bid have given us £2,000 worth of filming equipment. So in fact, we'll choose the filming equipment with the winning school and help you learn how to use it. But that is a huge amount of stuff. So very exciting. Equally, though, the person we've got to talk to you today is a young person who's in education still in Northamptonshire. So I'm hoping that his school is entering, or college is entering, the schools competition. But actually, we're also going to talk about the 48-hour film challenges because Louis won one. And we've got some quite exciting news about the 48-hour film challenges. We've been doing them virtually because of COVID, and then we've just started doing them again kind of physically at our home in the Grosvenor Centre, which is fabulous. But on a Sunday evening, it is shut. So now, on a Sunday evening, we are going to be going to V&B's, which is in the place opposite the Guildhall that used to be Ask in Northampton. Nice French wine bar. There's cheese, there's meat, there's wine. Yay! Where it's 6 o'clock on the Sunday.
That's going to bring the kids in.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we've been really accessible for kids. And if you are a young person, you probably need to come with an adult. But you are welcome. You can't have wine. But
fantastic place, wheelchair accessible as well, which is something we've been trying to secure for a while. Somewhere that was a really nice venue where we could watch films, but also make it accessible for everybody. Yeah, so we're very excited to be going to our new home. So if you're interested in taking part, the 48-hour film challenges are free. The next one is at the last weekend in March. I think it's the Friday the 25th at 6 o'clock. It will start, finish at 6 o'clock, surprise, on Sunday 27th of March in V&B's. So without further ado, well, in fact, actually, let me give you a little. If you want to look up the rules, if you don't understand what a 48-hour film challenge is, you can look on our WordPress. It has all the details in one of the most recent blog posts. Now, without further ado, I'm going to bring our guest, Louis Sheldon, who won one of our 48-hour film challenges for last year's festival. Hi, Louis. How are you? Hello.
Hello. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
All right, it's been a very busy week. I think what day is it? It's Wednesday. Yeah. So this is two of the 3 live streams that we're doing this week. So yeah, busy just because I started just booking people in, and people kept saying yes, and it's brilliant because we love talking to Northamptonshire filmmakers. So, do you want to tell us a little bit about how you got involved with Northampton Film Festival, or what things you've done with Screen Northants?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started with the 48-hour film festival. I heard about it through, I think, Instagram, because I follow Screen Northants on Instagram, as any Northamptonshire filmmaker should. So that's all right. That's all right. Shameless plug. I followed on there and I heard about it. So I entered Boy, and then I entered another film into the schools competition, but that film wasn't nearly as good. It was Boy was probably Boy was nearly a year ago, wasn't it?
Yeah,
almost a day.
Where's time go?
Yeah, golly. But yes. So I heard about it through Instagram. Then I did the 48-hour one. Before that I did a short called The Birds of Barton, which was when you had when you had Hugh Dennis judging. And yes, that was good.
Yes, so that was for the main competition of 2021. Yes, I remember. Yeah. I mean, I think Boy is one of my favourite ever 48-hour film challenge entries. I'll be honest. I really love it. Do you want to tell us a little bit about Boy? Well, actually, tell us, if you can remember, we were just talking about this earlier, what the theme was that you had to make it on for your 48-hour film challenge, and what Boy ended up being.
Yeah, so the stimulus word was reboot. And the idea came to me rather quickly because we've all met someone who we'd like to reboot. And I found that to be an amusing concept, and then you could go a few directions with it. And it was yeah, it was just blurting down all the ideas I had around rebooting, and that was the main one that stuck out.
Amazing. So, oh, sorry, you're going to ask.
No, I was going to say, had you seen any of the other 48-hour challenges and been interested, but the theme hadn't attracted you, or was that the first one?
Well, it was one of the first that I'd seen. I think I'd seen one before, but I was too busy that weekend. But yeah, no, it was certainly the earliest that I did. Yeah.
And obviously, you're still in education in Northamptonshire. So, I mean, can you tell us a little bit about like how you got into filmmaking? How long have you been making films? That kind of thing.
Yeah. So it's been a while because my dad is a photographer and my mum is an illustrator. So sort of filmmaking's a good in between. I've always been acting, and it just came to a point, I think, in about midway through secondary school, where I decided, well, I don't want to act on the stage anymore. I want to do it in front of a camera. And then I found out it was much more fun behind the scenes. And it sort of spiraled from there, you could say. But yeah, it's been a slog of a process, because, you know, you very much, you can feel the stages you're going up. And sometimes you're just like, well, I want to be able to just get to this next bit. I want to be able to do a bigger project, but there are things in your way. And that's what I like about the shorter competition, because very little is in your way, apart from time. But yeah.
Well, sorry, what you said midway through secondary school. What was the kind of stimulus there?
Ooh, I think it was, so my friends got a Nerf gun, and we wanted to make an action film. So, you know, it's a very cultured way of getting into the medium, you could say. But no, it began as just having a bit of fun, and then I thought, oh, this is very good. I want to do this.
I mean, we've also made films that kind of started with, we'd like to play some Nerf guns. I think it's probably, we should do a poll, shouldn't we? How many careers started with Nerf guns in film? Sorry, I should have said in my intro, I was distracted by Paul, that if you've got any filmy questions that you'd like to ask Louis, you can obviously put them in the chat if you're watching live on whatever platform you are in. And if they're good, your name will come up on the screen, and I'll ask them. If they're not good, I won't. No. But where was I going to go from there? The big question is, are you entering something into this year's film festival? And like, how has what you were doing in 2021 changed to what you're doing in 2022? What have you learned in a year?
Oh, right. Okay. A few questions there. So one, I am thinking of trying to enter, but obviously A-levels over the next few months it's a bit nuts at the moment. So I don't know. I've always got a few ideas rattling around, but no, I haven't. I'm not specifically working on one project at the moment. But I think in the past year, I've gone in a different direction. So back last year, it was, I make comedies, make people laugh, because it was a horrific time. Everyone was bored. I just felt no one wants to watch 2 minutes of some thriller or something really, really serious with a, you know, dramatic performance. Someone just wants a giggle. So that's the route I went down. But now that, well, I say now things have got a bit brighter, but I thought I'd try more serious stuff as stab. So I've been writing a lot over Christmas. But yeah, I think, I don't know specifically what I've learned. Just generally better, I'd say.
Well, so if there's someone watching who has never had a go at making a film, have you got some like top tips or things to avoid that will make their film look better? How can they learn from your mistakes?
Okay.
Well, let's just jump back. How far do you think you've come from your first exploits? Mm-hmm. Because I think there's a lot of young people feel intimidated, that they don't know what they're doing, that it's all a little bit complex. And I know that I still don't know what I'm doing, and I'm pretty experienced. So I just wonder about how far you think you've come.
Enormously. It's you're right. It does seem intimidating very early on, but I think as soon as I went down the lighting route, and I found that as soon as your film is lit better than just a camera in a room. As soon as you've got a bit of care over that, it's such a jump. And those early points, learning composition, learning lighting, and just basic stories, just the fundamentals. Once you have that down, that you can do so much more. It really opens everything up. And yeah, sometimes it does feel like you're, climbing this ladder. But what's great is that no matter what stage you're at, you can always make a film, and you can always then fail horrifically at a film and then be like, okay, well, that didn't work. What did work? I mean, for example, the film I entered to the main competition last year, that was a shocker. It wasn't a good film. But since then, I've taken elements of that one, and have I made 2 since? No, I've only made 1 since, but it was an absolute banger. So do you know what I mean? And you're going to fail. You're not going to be, you're not Martin Scorsese every time. And I think it's just important to be like, okay, the first few aren't going to be the best, but they do get better very, very quickly.
Well, talking of, question come in. So yeah, what films have you made between now and Boy? So you're saying the one you entered into the 2021 competition, not so good, maybe. I can't remember it, so I'm not judging it. And then you made Boy, and how are you moving on?
So after that, I did Interruptions, which was a black and white thing. That was a lot of fun because it was sort of film noir, but exaggerated and very funny. And yes, that I enjoyed that one a lot because of how long I had to spend on it. And it was nice to not have a deadline for once, which was weird because I find I work better with a deadline. But Interruptions was like, you can take your time and make it good. Then I did Burglary, which was back to a deadline, and that was a lot. That was an enormous project and that was just coming out of lockdown. So I was able to bring in essentially all of my very talented friends, and it was excellent because the music was brilliant, the acting was brilliant, the sound, the everything came together with that one. That was a lot of fun. But yeah, no, since then. Since those are the main 2 that I've made since.
Can I just ask, is Ethan Codling one of your very talented
he
friends?
Is, yes. He was been in pretty much all of those films.
Yeah. A bit of self-promotion is what it's all about. So well done, Ethan.
Developing relationships with people that support each other, help getting films made. It's how you start.
Yeah, totally. It is. And also, question: why are you not entering those into Northampton Film Festival if you've made some?
So one of them was for an American competition. Burglary was for one in America, which I'd heard about, I think through YouTube or something. And the other one was for just a different competition, I believe. I think it was BIFA, but it was, I will be entering again. Don't you worry. But it was yeah, they were just different competitions. I wanted to see how America would react to this thing.
Okay, and how does America react to you?
Well, I don't know. I thought the film was very good. Everyone who watched it thought it was very good. But it's a very English sense of humor, quite dry. So I don't know how they felt, if I'm brutally honest. But
no, fair enough.
Sound all right.
We have got another question. I wonder if this might be someone you know. But what's your favourite genre to film? Like you said, okay.
Yeah,
you've moved away from comedy. You're going a bit more serious.
Yeah. Well, firstly, that's George who did the music for Interruptions and Burglary. Right. Yeah, Rebel did the music for Boy. My favourite genre to film. George, why have you stabbed me in the back? That's a hard question. I don't know. I'd love to make a murder mystery. That would be a lot of fun. But out of the ones I've made so far, probably like a comedy film noir where it was silly, but I could have a bit of tension, bit of suspense in there. Yeah.
Nice. There you go. Well, so actually, talking of like genres or whatever, if again, I think the hardest thing is sometimes to start or to come up with an idea and whatever else. where do you start? Do you start with, I'd like to do a murder mystery, or do you start with something else? What's like the easiest jumping off point for you?
Well, firstly, I wouldn't take this as gospel because I'm a bit mental. But I think I start with a burst of random ideas and then nothing. So it always comes from the weirdest inspiration. So Boy was obviously the quote, but then it was also an Elon Musk launch video where I thought, oh, what if this went horribly wrong? And they were, and it's just, I always have a notepad near me. I've got one right there now, and just blurt down every idea. My phone is filled with the most dreadful film concepts, but out of those, you're essentially throwing everything at a wall, and eventually something will stick. Which isn't a very deliberate way of doing it, but it's it's messy at the start. I wouldn't say there's any hard and fast way of doing it. I know the best way I generate ideas is by reading everything. It's a bit relentless. Watch as many films as you can, read about those films, and that way I'm like, oh, well, they didn't do that very well. No one thought that was very good. How could I do that better? So yeah, it's an absolute range.
Nice.
That was quite a long one, wasn't it? That was
No. Well, we have another question come in, and obviously you loved the last question on genre. So let's see if this is someone you know who asked the question on genre, just to again be a pain for you.
Olivia Harris. My word. Oh no. What would you say?
So yes, what is the hardest genre for you to write and film? Because I mean,
comedy.
I assume.
Yeah, because with a drama, you can be, if someone goes, oh yeah, no, I really liked how he was so vulnerable, and you weren't meant to do that, you can just be like, oh yeah, that was a deliberate choice. But with comedy, it's either funny or it isn't, and that's the terrifying thing. I found when I was writing Boy though that this is going to make me sound odd, but when I write, I'm like, I have to say the dialogue out loud, I have to hear it. So, but I was giggling because I found it was a funny script. So I was there, sat in my room, just typing, laughing, and speaking at a computer. I looked like a mental person, but it was good. And I think it definitely comedy, because if you can write comedy easily, I resent you.
I don't think that's as uncommon as you might think about saying the dialogue out loud, because very often, and it comes from a lot at your age, is things are overwritten, dialogue's overwritten. Very often it's more like a radio play than something that's for a visual medium. So it is helpful to say it out loud and see how it feels. I don't think that's that uncommon.
So there's lots
maybe not uncommon. It looks weird.
Well, so this maybe this segues into this next question. I don't know. So Ethan is giving you more stuff to answer. What is it about a film you create that makes it authentically yours? How do we spot a Louis film?
What? Okay.
What's your unique selling point, I suppose?
It's normally, so a lot of filmmaking is write what you know, and I don't exactly know hardship or the street or struggle. So you'll be able to tell it's mine if it's not a gangster film or a gritty crime drama or something like that, because I wouldn't know where to start. So it's normally something quite quaint or quite just an amusing concept done in a very. I don't really like moving my camera in a flamboyant way. I like to see what's going on. I don't know. I mean, like take Burglary, for example, the thing I made last year. The log line for that was a burglar attempts to steal an antique china plate. That's not exactly life on the edge, is it? But it was a good film, and you can tell it's a Louis Sheldon film, I suppose, if it's just a bit comfortable.
Like a nice pair of slippers.
I've been described as that many times.
Nice. Well, I think we're basically at the end of our time. So I thought that's something I was going to ask you to leave. Well, what have you
I was just wondering if
I talk a lot.
Yeah, you said, and I'm just going to go back to it, that it was midway through secondary school that got you interested. if there had been something like the schools competition that we're trying to get off the ground at the moment, if that had been in your school, is that something you think you would have jumped at an earlier age?
Absolutely. We did have a we entered a road safety competition where wherein we Ethan in the comments, we hit him with a car for a video. And it was, don't do that. It was visual effects, but it was lots of fun. And I'd say that was definitely a catalyst for getting into it. Because it was essentially, one, I got out of lesson for a couple of hours and I thought, oh, I like this. But then also it was a cool thing to have because we got to go around, present it and, show it to people. And it was a nice thing. And there was a big group of us as well, which is always better. But yeah, definitely. If there was that competition at the secondary school, I'd have done it.
Fabulous. Well, we should probably leave it at that then. Yeah. Thank you very much, Louis. We always do a weird, awkward wave. Actually, no, sorry. The last thing I should say is if people want to see your films or whatever, how do they?
So Boy is on my Instagram along with Interruptions, and then Burglary. If you just search Burglary short film, that's on YouTube. It'll come up. You'll be able to spot it.
What's your Instagram?
Louis Sheldon photos. Oh yes.
There you go. Cool, fabulous. Well, thank you very much, Louis. We'll do a weird, awkward wave because we always do.
Tatty bye. Ciao. Ciao.
Tatty bye. We haven't had that before. Exciting. So yes, just before we go,
it was very comfortable.
It was very slippers. Yeah, it's nice. I like it. I might start signing off with it. I won't. But let me give you the web address if you want to find out about schools competition. If you want to find out about anything to do with Northampton Film Festival, to be honest. If you're watching this live, there's going to be the first judge is going to be announced at 8 o'clock tonight on our social media. So keep an eye out. That's at Screen Northants or at NN Film Festival. Yeah, exciting times. And hopefully we'll see you all at the 48-hour film challenge at the end of March, ahead of the festival in May. Right. Awkward wave?
Another awkward wave, I think.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.